Finn is out. George and JJ sitting in a tree. And should the holiday special be available on Disney Plus? Say goodnight, friends. Collider Jedi Council starts right now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this special spoiler-heavy review of Endgame.
No. I don't want this. I don't want it.
Welcome back to Star Wars Jedi Council, and we are not going to use spoiling Endgame. If you want to do that, well, then you should watch our spoiler-heavy review that will air once the movie is out. But we are talking about Star Wars, everything happening in the world of Star Wars, and what a way to do it. The panel that we have today, Kim Horcher returns. Hello, Kim. How are you?
Hey, ready for no spoilers.
No spoilers at all. And next to her is the one and only Ken Napzok. Hello, Ken.
I will not spoil anything. I do have gifts for you both.
Oh, what do you got?
A friend named Brian, but I know him as Captain Lobot.
Okay.
Made these little things, little Lobot pins.
And that's what you have on your lapel.
That's what I have on my lapel.
Look at you. I love it. And yeah, we just had a That's funny. Lobot keeps coming up today. He was on. There was a question from Collider Live today. Someone just wrote randomly. They go, "Who's that Star Trek-looking dude in Empire?" And I said, "They talking about Lobot?"
I saw that. I also want to make sure. Did you guys solve the mystery of the
bathroom? No, we never solved it.
Okay.
We never solved it. It was pretty awful, though. I'll tell you that.
It's good.
But for more reference, please go and watch Collider Live this morning. But we will be talking about Star Wars movie news, ladies and gentlemen. That's everything happening in the world of Star Wars. It's the movies, and right now, Episode 9 seems to be the only game in town. But that won't be for that long. But Ken, what's going on?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about after the Rise of Skywalker, John Boyega. You know him. He plays Finn, FN 2187. He was talking with MTV. Josh Horowitz got a lot of great little sound clips down there at this celebration. Some of us are still there. Mark Riley stuck in the airport. Oh my gosh, where was the damn quote? Oh, I swore. They were talking about after will Finn be done with Star Wars? And he absolutely says, honestly, the bottom of my heart, I don't think I am being involved in Star Wars after this. This is.
He said he doesn't. He thinks he's not.
Yeah,
done.
This really is that movie. I think everyone does believe it, but this is the war that just ends everything.
He says
he's not coming back.
He says he's not coming back.
Done.
Yeah. Next time, maybe just Roka will read it. I can't read quotes. Yeah. So he's saying, done.
Yeah, we'll see.
Not surprising.
Yeah, of course, he says it now is the end for this particular thing. But if you listen to Kathleen Kennedy's interview, I think again with Horowitz, she said that there are characters that have been set up in this franchise that you could potentially see again. Now, she didn't say it was going to happen in 2 years from now. Right. She didn't say it's going to happen in 10 years from now. So if there's a story that takes place with Finn in 15 or 20 years from now, look, if you ask Billy D. Williams back after Return of the Jedi if he was done with Star Wars, I'm pretty sure I'm done. Yeah. But it's and then he's back today, so it's very possible that he could return. I think that as of today, if you ask him, he thinks he's done.
I mean, they could definitely pull a Hamill on him. I was talking to Mark Hamill in 2012, 2013, and he was like, I don't know. Right. I don't know if it's ever happening again. It happened again. Right. So it could just be that he doesn't know, or he's been led to believe this. There's always machinations going on behind the scenes that maybe he doesn't know about.
Yeah, there's no story yet for him. So it's for him today, he's done. But if someone comes up and has an amazing story, an amazing, let's say, I don't know, Matthew Vaughn or Patty Jenkins, somebody comes up with an amazing story and presents it to Lucasfilm, who's like, I got this thing for Finn. And it takes place 7 years after the events of the Rise of Skywalker, and now Finn is doing this, and it fits the story. And they get, Boyega, here's a truckload of cash. Come back and play Finn again. He'll do it. But today it's over.
Today it's not.
What do you think?
Look, every time I start to choke on a deli sandwich, I tell myself I'm never doing that
Tuna fish sandwich?
Tuna fish sandwich. Yeah. Every time I choke on it, within a couple weeks I'm choking on another one. It's the way life is. You never know. And I thought Kathleen's comments were interesting. Again, I'm not saying that anything's fact or anything's in development or plan. But yeah, these characters don't have to end unless that's part of their journey, of course. And the question question that I want to fire back at you is, we hear this is the end of the Skywalker saga, the saga films 1 through 9. I don't think something like this would be episode 10, but do you need a Skywalker in it to be a saga film? If in 5 years they come back with episode 10, Rey, Finn, and Poe, and BB-8, I mean, does that count?
Remember, the main thing that people don't, I think, take into consideration is that Star Wars was initially, you have those 3 movies, and then it's like, oh, we're going to get 3 more. Okay, great, we got 6.
Yeah.
And then we thought that was it forever. When Disney had bought over Lucasfilm and said, no, we're going to do 1 a year, which they've gone back on since, but we still know there's going to be a lot more movies and that there's no end in sight. You don't need just the saga films or just those 9 movies. Let these 9 movies stand on their own. There's 9 films, great. Now let's start some brand new stuff. Now, whether or not it's characters from this one starting their own saga or it's Benioff and Weiss doing an Old Republic type thing and starting there, because maybe, and the likely of this is, the possibility is unlikely, but what if they Benioff and Weiss released their first movie? It's in the Old Republic. It's the rise of the Jedi and the rise of the Sith, and it becomes people's favorite Star Wars movies that they've ever seen. And those first 3 movies are the best that they've ever seen, and they feel that it's better than anything even that happened in Empire or Jedi. Again, unlikely, but what if? It would be silly for them to go, well, let's just keep playing here. Let's do 3 more movies here, or start to spin off in this direction. So they can end with 9 and they'll be fine. Do you feel another way?
No, I'm happy with, not happy, but 1 through 9, and like you just said, like that's his thing. It's I just don't want that to stop other characters popping up in other stories. I wouldn't. They're from the 1 through 9 universe.
I don't think that'll stop.
I don't think that's the case. But just questioning.
What do you think about that?
It would be foolish on their investment to just be like, that's the end. It's all done. No more possibilities. No more creativity. No more mediums that we definitely own. It's gonna. I mean, if this saga ends, start a new saga or call it Chronicles or Stories or something. But there's always room. I mean, Disney owns Marvel, which is the creator of the cinematic universe, successful cinematic universe, and it's definitely repeatable.
Yeah, I think that it's definitely possible for characters in the sequel trilogy to appear in other movies if they need them. I just think that what this movie really set up and what it's doing is to tie in everything that came before, whether you grew up with the prequels, whether you grew up with the original trilogy. This is to set it all together in one way or another. And I think that's what this one will do. And I think that you close it off with you put a nice little bow on it, and then you just. Because, again, it would be really cool what if there's another movie that takes place 10 years in the future after Rise of Skywalker, and even if it's one scene, Rey pops up, 10 years later, and it's like, oh, that's cool. It all depends on how this ends, and I think that the possibilities are, at least they have the opportunity.
Could potentially be.
Do you think it's possible he's saying, like, I die in this movie?
No. No, I think he's got a pretty big role.
I just think
and obviously it's from Force Awakens, but where was this pulled from? Do we know?
This looks like a billboard that I saw.
Yeah, but is it recently or just from Force Awakens? Because I'm wondering what his role is going to play in this one, in the new one. But anyway, moving on.
All right, we've got this little story here. This has been, again, stuff that popped out of Celebration. The idea that J.J. Abrams is saying he had a meeting with George Lucas happened prior to the writing of The Rise of Skywalker, which is not abnormal. George, we saw in that documentary, he placed a call to Rian Johnson. He's shown up on sets. Hell, he was even on the Game of Thrones set recently, the season 8, episode 1. Episode, you know what I'm saying?
I'm having problems today.
I don't know what you mean.
I don't know what's going on to me today. I have not recovered from Chicago. I've been
really?
Sleeping terribly. It's been, what are you going to do? Don't laugh at me, Roka.
Focus on the questions.
He spent so much time on them.
I know.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Focus on the question.
Just get it together.
JJ says this. I feel the story we told, the goal for this movie, the job was to end not just this trilogy and just to make a standalone film. Of course, it needs to work in that way too, but to end 9 films, 3 trilogies. And so that job was, the job was to look at all of them, including The Last Jedi, and ask yourselves, what is the inevitability? Where is this going? There have been a lot of ideas since the beginning, since George first came up with his with this, of where things could go. We had a meeting with him before we even wrote the script about the Rise of Skywalker. Also goes on to claim that there was meetings with Ryan, Lawrence Kasdan, the whole kit and caboodle of people.
Okay.
That's good.
I always think there's always a weird scramble to claim George Lucas and that George blessed it or George this and George was on our set and then George makes his, he shows Mandalorian. He's obviously close with Filoni. There's all those kind of, close with the Kasdan, so he's going to show up on the Solo set, all that kind of stuff. So sometimes it's a little weird for me. I think it's great. I don't put a ton of stock in stuff like this, but it seems like this weird, like, George is okay.
I agree with you. I think that there's always politics involved, one way or another. And what we want to hear is the creator loves everyone. The creator's on board with everybody. We had a meeting with them. A meeting could have been a phone call. What do you think we should do here for this? Well, maybe you should do this. Great, thanks, George. And we've had conversations with them for sure. We want to let you know that the creator endorses our product. The same way that every single time a Terminator movie goes like, look, James Cameron likes it.
Right.
No matter what. That's not this. You know what I mean?
No, it's different though, because James Cameron made the only good Terminator films.
Right.
And George Lucas arguably didn't make the best. Well.
But he's responsible
He's had his
for it.
hand in,
But he created it the same way James Cameron created it.
As opposed to directing.
Right.
Yeah.
He created it. And so you always want it's like the philosophy. When you listen to James Cameron, when you listen to Dave Filoni, what I think that a lot of people, and myself included for a long time, when everybody was so harsh on George Lucas, people, because it was an animated series, don't realize how the Clone Wars truly affected Star Wars in general and how much creative input went in from George Lucas and how much he knows. He learned everything. Filoni learned everything from George Lucas through those meetings and through those understanding and working with him. And you saw some of the greatest stuff as far as storytelling in Star Wars happens in that animated series. And a lot of people haven't watched it or seen it, and it takes, I think, 3 seasons to really get going. But once it does, it was George he's always on point with the storytelling of it. He never, so why wouldn't you want to make a phone call with it? But I don't, like you said, I don't take stock in people saying, well, look, JJ on the same place. Oh, JJ and Ryan had a meeting. They're best friends. I've had meetings with people and it almost looks like he took a shot at Ryan a little bit in this one. He's like, oh, all these movies count, even Last Jedi.
Wow.
Doesn't it seem like that a little bit inside of that? Read that comment again.
I think it's.
Read that comment again.
Can you read it again?
So the job was to look at all of them, including The Last Jedi.
Okay, that's a shot.
Like, why throw that in there? It's like, look at all the movies. Why didn't he say, look at all the movies, even Phantom Menace? Look at all those movies.
Even a Life Day celebration. We looked into that.
Look at all these movies. Even Last Jedi, the last movie that came right before mine.
I think he's talking about.
Am I wrong?
It's a little passive aggressive.
I think the very truths we cling to all depend greatly on our certain point of view here. I think he's basically saying the writing process may have began before that movie came out, but we looked at that as well. I think that's what it is.
All right.
That's what I'm taking.
You guys read it so different because I thought it meant to say, we're including elements that were in the prequels and that have always been a through line.
Yeah, no, it's just like taking all these movies that count.
I'd also have to see the full interview.
I want to see the full interview for sure, but the way that you read it, and to be fair, you're not reading very well today.
I'm reading like
but the way that
medical condition.
Yes, the way that you read it, it seemed like we're going to pay attention to all these movies, even The Last Jedi. Like, that's the way that the clip it sounds.
Roka, can you Burbank Police and Fire just up the street, have them hovering around? I don't know what's going on with me today.
Not doing too good. Anyway, so it's very nice that the guy is the best. He really knows how to maneuver media. I know that.
JJ,
he does. He's a master.
He's a master at maneuvering it. So there's no matter what he's going to say, he's never going to. What's he going to say? Let's say that him and George Lucas don't get along. Let's say that they don't talk at all. What's he going to say?
George has interesting ideas.
Right. You know what? I don't pay attention to George, or I don't really like George. So deal with it. And then the whole fan base turns against him. Or everything Rian Johnson did in that film, I hated it. Mm-hmm. So you know what? I'm going to do some stuff that is just going to shove it in his face. Is he going to say that? No. So he said he gets along. And I'm not saying that any of that's true, but I'm just saying, but what's he going to? He's going to say good things. He's a smart businessman.
What if he just looked at the camera and said, "I'm the captain now," and that was it? That was the end of the interview.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Moving on.
There's some rumors.
Good luck reading them.
Going around. Well,
Just
I'm
make
not.
the font bigger.
It's not that. I'm just having one.
Did you go out last night?
No, I haven't been out for my birthday. I fell asleep at a bar.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
Who's this homeless guy?
It was kind of like that. It's been a fun time. All right, so I don't read and click on a lot of rumors, so I haven't heard this one, but there's a rumor floating around.
Apparently, you don't read.
I read well at times.
You're getting there.
I fell asleep reading Master and Apprentice last night.
Oh,
yeah. I'm falling asleep
what page
a lot.
You on?
87.
And?
I mean, I love it.
Okay. You're just tired.
Not falling asleep because of the book.
No, you're like McCookie. He fell asleep in Infinity War because he just falls asleep.
Oh, yeah.
Not Infinity War.
Infinity War and Endgame. He said he fell asleep twice. Yeah.
He just falls asleep all the time.
He just falls asleep unless he's screaming at horror films. Right. Anyways, there's a rumor about Han Solo. Do you think Harrison Ford will make any kind of appearance in the Rise of Skywalker, Kristian?
And like a flashback or something?
Cameo? I don't know.
If he shot it already.
A framed photo?
Doesn't seem to want to come back.
Yeah, that's
JJ
fair.
probably could have gotten him back if he wanted him to, but I don't think you need to. I mean, I guess it depends on the arc with Kylo. Could I see it happening? Yeah, I don't necessarily think it needs to, though, but I could see it being a possibility. What do you think?
I mean, it would be nice on one hand, but I feel it might undermine the finality and just the weight of his death.
Yeah. Even though what if it's part of like a flashback that, because we know he's getting redeemed, Kylo Ren, in this one, right? So like, what if it's part of the arc is him kind of connecting into something that maybe his mother helps kind of figure out, like a message or something. I don't know. I mean, it's
facilitating
something like that. I don't know. There's just some lesson that maybe they do that. Like if anything proves, and this is from Marvel movies in general. Marvel movies has been showing a lot of de-aging stuff, and even if you look at that Will Smith trailer that we just saw,
good at it.
The de-aging stuff is getting better and better and better. And now you got The Irishman coming out that they're doing it too. Why not do a de-aging thing with them and maybe do like an old scene? That would be cool.
What if you age up Alden Ehrenreich? Huh?
Pass. It's a big pass.
Maybe the scene is they've had time after his death. His belongings. He didn't have a will, and everything went to probate.
Yeah.
And so there's a middle chapter of the Rise of Skywalker is just Kylo and Leia in court fighting over his.
That's
belongings.
what everyone loves. Is the bureaucratic stuff in Star Wars.
Here's another question for you.
Yeah.
Has Alden become George Lazenby?
A little bit.
All become Lazenby.
I get it.
No, Lazenby would have continued, but he became a hippie, and the producers fired him. That's the look. Am I wrong, Roka? That's wrong. Not wrong.
But but as far as the reputation,
one and out,
one and done.
I mean, I
can't see him coming back
unless you do it on Plus.
He might not want to.
He'd be locked in. They're all locked. They're all locked in the three movies.
But I'm all for it, but I know.
Nah, I think they're.
I don't think they're gonna.
All right. Yeah. We digress.
Speaking of episode 9, hey, remember when we were at Chicago?
I remember
when I had to sleep.
Yeah, great hot dogs.
That's where I lost. You and I had a lot of hot dogs.
Good hot dogs.
Let's be honest. You and I ate a lot of hot dogs.
They were good.
I didn't stop. Palpatine, all the roar, all the rage, that laugh.
Kim Horcher's tweet was amazing, by the way.
What was your tweet, Kim?
What
was your tweet?
Did you just keep reading?
Did you just tweet right now?
No.
It was right after the Rise of Skywalker panel, and I was going through my mentions, and I got hit with hers, and I actually audibly laughed in the theater.
I felt a great disturbance in the Force, as if one voice, Kristian Harloff, all the way from Chicago, suddenly cried out, "I told you!" And will never be silenced.
No.
I fear something terrible has happened.
Yes, you were not inaccurate. But anyway, what were they saying?
So we saw it even then at Celebration. McDiarmid has been playing around with how much he's either in it or not, or so the laugh comes out, and he comes out, roll it again, and then he's like, just was stopping by. We know that's a joke, but then on the Star Wars show, he's like, that laugh is old. That laugh is, and so now there's this story here, but it might have been a stock footage, or not stock, but like a sound left over from Jedi or Sith or something like that. Do you think there's anything to them like the laugh? Oh, we need to pull back expectations, or we want to surprise, even though we've said it's happening. Like, what do you think about all this? It doesn't matter to you if it's not the same.
No, it's the mystery box. It's what they're going to do. They're not going to tell you exactly what his role is. They did enough by telling you he's in it and he's involved in it. I just find it hard to believe that they put the laugh in the trailer if it's just a small little cameo. It's like
it would be ridiculous if they did that,
right.
because of course it's going to light people on fire, and they're going to get their brains going about how this fits in. Where does he fit in? Who is he talking to? What?
Right.
It'd be insane if it was like nothing.
No, if you just now that doesn't. You could still do something to where, I don't know, Kylo Ren finds old holocrons or something, and is having, and he's been learning more stuff about the dabble in the dark side, and that he's not necessarily back. A lot of people have thought that. I don't think that's the case. I think that going back to the comments that JJ made about tying all the trilogies together, if you go into Episode 3 with that conversation where he says Plagueis basically taught him how to cheat death, use that, play it. I think there's definitely, I don't think Plagueis will be in this movie, but I certainly think that they'll have to, one way or another, if Palpatine is back, then they will definitely mention how Plagueis taught him how to do this, one way or another. That's a way to kind of lock the trilogies together. What do you think?
I mean, I've been saying for a while, we are lockstep on the idea of Palpatine back in any way, shape, or form, even referenced or weaved in, or something about his past. It makes sense to me, especially if you're talking about tying it together, which is why I still love the idea that the Rise of Skywalker title is also referring to this idea that people in the galaxy, the bad guys, feel the Skywalkers are dead. Anakin, Luke never showed up. He failed you. All this kind of stuff, and then the idea of a rise of the Skywalker name. Still, whether it's Kylo, Rey, all of the above, none of the above. That's what they give new Jedis. I haven't settled on what I want out of that, and I'll wait for the film. But it all kind of ties back together. So to the original thing of a stock laugh. I mean, that's the best laugh to pull, anyways. And I love that moment. And whether it's new or not, it goes back to the Force Awakens teaser. The second teaser, whatever it was, where Luke's, they take the Jedi, my family, the force is strong in my family.
Yeah.
Like, that was just reworked.
Right.
Initially, we thought it was brand new. I think Hamill said he recorded some stuff underneath it, but it was the same audio.
Well, there's also that shot where someone's handing the lightsaber to Leia that they never used.
Yeah, Maz, we believe, right? Yeah.
That's what we thought. So maybe do you think they're going to use that scene, kind of going off course a little bit too, because that trailer, the Force Awakens trailer that they showed at Celebration in 2015, and there's that big scene of my sister had it, and you see someone handing a lightsaber, and they've mentioned that there's a lot of stuff that they pulled from the Force Awakens non-scene footage. Do you think they're going to use that scene this time around?
Of course. You've got to find a way, because you've got to pull every resource you can. You've got to figure it out somehow and how to make it work in this new story. Sure.
Yeah, and they kind of right around these scenes. You think they'll show up, Ken?
I would like to. Whether or not you swap out that lightsaber for something else, or just use the audio and repurpose it. Yeah, because I do like the Maz character. As much as I love Last Jedi, I did not like the use of her in The Last Jedi. I thought that was one of my least favorite moments. But I love the character, and it was used great in Forces of Destiny. Her kind of telling stories around the campfire. So there's a lot of knowledge there, a connection to Han. It all makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Is that everything going on in the world of movies?
One final little thing, we teased it up top, and Roka dropped this in here, and I thought it was a great, fun little kind of editorial from a guy named Brett White on Decider about the idea of Disney Plus, and could they, how dare you not do it, cowards, add the holiday special and the Ewok movies. Now, George Lucas, if he has his druthers, he famously said he'd burn all the copies. There's one currently sitting in my apartment, CBS broadcast copy.
It's on YouTube, too.
Yeah, you can find parts of it, too. You can find a lot of it. And then the Caravan of Courage and the Battle of Endor. Would you want to see it on there? They're canon adjacent at this point. I don't think they'll ever be fully.
Legends.
They're legends, but there's things, Akmena's canon, all that kind of stuff. And then Favreau and Filoni both name dropped them at the panel for Mandalorian, and that's what this article references. And we know the Mandalorian's weapon is the one that Boba Fett had in the holiday special, and there's also the creature, the Blurg, which is from the Ewok movies that was featured in the Mandalorian footage we saw. So it just goes, I don't know, it's a fun question for a Star Wars fan. Do you want to see that? Do you feel, even though it's Legends or this and that, it was made, produced, Nathan Hamill loves teak, could we get that on Disney Plus? Would you even want that?
Could we get it? No.
Right.
Do I want it? No. I don't need. It's garbage. It's complete and utter garbage. It's horrible. It is horrible. It's like public access.
It's bad.
It's terrible. But just because they pull cool stuff out of it, like Boba Fett, it doesn't mean that you should make it so. It's awful. And George Lucas himself says it. It's garbage.
Yeah. And again, they farmed it out.
Can you imagine?
Bruce Valanche worked on it.
I know. Can you imagine if you were a Disney Plus subscriber that you've never got into this before, and you're like, I'm going to sign up. They have Star Wars stuff, and you've never even heard of this thing. You pull this piece of filth up, and then you watch this. You're like, what am I subscribing? This is not worth $6.99.
I would pay $6.99 a month just one time to see Carrie Fisher's life.
Is B. Arthur in it also?
When she was trying to launch her singing career.
Yeah.
Do you think this piece of nonsense should be on? It is B. Arthur.
Here, if you bury it, it's just going to become this greater and greater legend. People are going to be like, I got to get this bootleg copy.
Bury it. It's been out there for a long time.
Is it bad? Yes. Should everyone know about it and see parts of it at least? I think so.
Go do it on YouTube, though. You don't want to put that on your ultimate premiere stream.
Do you think it tarnishes the service that much?
It's just so low quality, and it's
real bad.
It's trash.
Okay,
it's bad.
You should look at the other. Every Wookiee who's not Chewbacca is wearing like
canon, by the
a
way.
smock.
They pulled stuff from it
because
that
the
is canon.
costumes are just too expensive.
Yeah, our producer John Roca said it's canon. It's actually not canon.
I think we should just add a mic for John at that table.
Yeah,
for now
I think they've been asked. I think that the story team's
John
been asked.
wants to see Lumpy,
Itchy.
and Mala.
Lumpy is canon.
And Itchy.
Yeah, and Mala and all this stuff. Yeah,
He wants to watch the grandpa watch softcore porn.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, let's. Now that is everything in the movie news. I don't even know if that was movie news, but we will now get into what's the deal with canon, not the Christmas special or holiday. Who cares? Now we will talk about everything that connects to the films. That could be novels or games or television shows, whatever it is. We are going to talk about it right now. Kenneth Napzokian, what do you got?
We got a first kind of real in-depth review of, not in-depth review, but just a look at Fallen Order. IGN put some stuff out there. We didn't have a real big chance to dive into that conversation coming out of Chicago.
All right.
So with Fallen Order, what are you? I know you're excited for this game like me because we're just old guys that want to sit on our couch and not have to deal with online communities and just play the game.
Yes.
Are you excited? What's your thoughts on this now?
Well, I'm the most excited about this one because
most excited.
I am because when you. Yes, I'd like to sit on the couch and not worry about if some 13-year-old is going to shoot me in the head when I'm not looking. But
that could happen no matter what.
That's true. But I'm sorry. And as far as the game goes, I am watching. I'm watching these games for the story as much as anything else. That's why I like Battlefield 2 so much more than the first one, is because there was a story to be told there. I didn't really care about the other stuff. I just wanted to play the story. The fact that we get right after Revenge of the Sith, the stuff I always liked was the Jedi Purge and what happened and how it's going to play into it. When will we see Vader, if we see him at all? The Inquisitors. It's really, from the story that they told, it's just another telling of the Force Unleashed. Excuse me, that's the Vader Immortal thing. This is from the story that they're telling. It's another thing of basically the Jedi on the run, and how's he going to get away? Does he embrace it? Does he stay? It's more like New Dawn.
Right.
And I like that. I like to see, is that going to play into anything else too? Because one of the things I'd love to see happen eventually is that video games, if they get popular enough, that even though it hasn't been done successfully yet. But I said when video games play popular enough, as far as like whether it's Halo or
video
Uncharted.
Games are massively popular.
Let me finish the thought. So I mean, as far as when a game itself becomes very popular, not every video game that's released becomes popular. Like there are some that are duds. A particular story, when it gets popular enough, that films try to turn them into, studios try to turn them into films, right? And that hasn't happened yet. Uncharted, people still think that it's got a shot. Max Payne was a bomb. I mean, there were so many that were bombs.
Assassin's Creed,
Assassin's Creed are bombs, but nonetheless, there's an attempt. So what I'm hoping is that if a Star Wars game gets popular enough to where there's a potential that if you can take this character and spin off, and let's say they say, well, look, we have this time period too, and Cal is really kicking ass here. Let's give him his own spin-off movie, because the kid is a great actor. The kid from Shameless, it looks just like him. Maybe sometimes they do that for a reason. So that's kind of what I meant as far as the game itself and the story gets popular enough that maybe they can turn this into a series of movies.
I mean, that's definitely a hard transition, which is why we haven't really seen a good video game movie, because there's just so many small details that get told over tens of hours in a single player campaign that just won't translate to a 2-hour film at all. I mean, it could be cool. I'm excited for this because we lost Amy Hennig's Star Wars game. You know, she was the one who worked on Uncharted, and then they were going to make another one. I really believe in single-player campaigns, and I know they're not as profitable. You can't really stick loot boxes or whatever you want to call it on there, but I love them. They're great storytelling methods, and sometimes they're really fun.
Yeah, no, I agree with what Kim's saying there, and the move to the online battle royale stuff, which are fun, and I still enjoy Battlefront 2, but I get the repetitive nature of it. I don't play it often, once a week or so. I think Star Wars needs one. There was the loss of some of the other ones that we were expecting. I think there's. I would say a lot of pressure on this game because Star Wars fans want this.
And they want it to be good.
They want it to be good.
Well, everyone's excited because it's a Respawn, and they just had that success with Apex.
Right. And that was kind of like a surprise game, too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, look, I think we're all, if you're a Star Wars fan, and especially if you're a gamer, you really want this to work. And even if you're not or used to be a gamer, you want to get back into it because I know a lot of people got into games to play Star Wars games because when LucasArts was really thriving, they had some great games. People would get this stuff just to get gaming systems just to play Star Wars games. So I'd like to see an age to where we get back there before the dark times.
Well,
before
it's exciting that they're bringing back Knights of the Old Republic in some kind of form.
Isn't it just Old Republic?
Yeah. Oh, they said they're doing something with it, but they haven't said what it is.
They're doing an addition to the other Old Republic stuff that they're doing. I would love to get a redo of Knights of the Old Republic. And let's also see what happens with this Benioff and Weiss stuff. If it is indeed set back in that time, then to spawn off some games in that time period could be really interesting. So a lot of exciting things to happen. I think that this is the end of an era this year, right? We close out with Rise of Skywalker. I think you put those 9 movies, that's the end, that you're done, and now you're really bringing in a whole new wave, starting with The Mandalorian, going into Cassian Andor, and then bringing in these new films. It's an exciting time to be a Star Wars fan because there's not a lot of expectations too of I hope this character does this instead of that because that's not what they would have done. Brand new characters, the way that you felt the first time you saw the original trilogy, like, well, who's this guy sitting in the cantina and why did he just shoot that alien for no reason? I think we can have moments like that again. All right, anyway, let's move on. What's next?
Let's talk a little bit about Galaxy's Edge, opening May 31st in Anaheim at Disneyland, the Disneyland Resort and Hotel, and then later fall in Orlando. But the focus right here is on the Anaheim one, and the rollout of the new land has been plagued by glitches. Reading a story here from GazetteNet.com. But there's this thing that, some emails went out telling some people, probably those fancy, rich, yearly pass holders, I'm down here in Steerage, that they can make some reservations, but it looks like they might get only 4 hours of guaranteed time to explore this land. This is also a bit of a soft opening, as we know. What is it? The Rise of the Resistance, I believe, ride is not there. Smuggler's Run will be, which is the Hondo Anaka mission with the Falcon and all that kind of cool stuff. I'm just there for the green and blue milk drinks. So a little bit of glitches, which, that's kind of Disney tradition on openings of new things. That goes back to 55. So I still don't think I'm getting in here for about 2 years. My expectations are low on that.
I think sooner than that, but you're still looking at a while before you want to go, to be honest with you. I think because even if you start with the glitches, right? Yeah. Let them figure out the kinks and figure it out. Would it be awesome to walk around, look at the land itself? But I want to experience it when it's really thriving. And I think that a year and a half, 2 years is really when it's going to start to kind of pick up. Now, if someone says to me, hey, I got passes, do you want to go? I'm not going to say no. I'm going to go. But I'm not going to go out of my way yet because the crowds, again, because of the way that they showed this stuff at Celebration, of the way you're going to experience some of it, it's like, well, let's say the 4 of us go to this thing and we go on the Falcon. Yeah. Each one of us has a different job, right? Yeah. So one of us will be steering it, one of us will be on the cannons, one of us will be doing other things, and you all have a job, which is fantastic and a lot of fun. But that means there's thousands of other people waiting to do that exam experience. I don't know, maybe there's 4 or 5 pods. Maybe there's 10. Right. But still, that's a big experience. You're going to be on that line. You're going to be on that all day. You're gonna be doing that all day because if it's 2 minutes, it's too short. What's the point of the wait? 15, 20 minutes. Yeah. It's like it's gonna take its time.
Yeah. A long wait, short return reminds me of my first relationship. But I'll tell you about. Can we decide the line? Or can we decide the duties right now if we go as a team?
We're still trying to figure that out.
When we went to the VR thing, you were in charge of opening that door, that code, and it took you a while. We almost died. And I want to make sure we get the right jobs.
That's the truth. I have no. I
Kim,
have
can
to
you
do
crack any codes?
Yeah, I have not.
No, I'm bad at driving, but good at shooting.
You're our gunner.
Yeah. I see. I would do.
Classic woman.
I'll
You're
steer
good
the
at
ship.
driving.
I can steer the ship.
You're good at driving.
Yeah.
You've done entire Facebook Live broadcasts while driving.
I was very proud of myself on the 405 today. 405 and coming. Like, I was maneuvering. I'm really maneuvering. Really getting through the
you do good.
weaving, bobbing and the weaving.
I mean, you've driven to San Diego with me in the car. And I get no complaints, man.
Yeah, it's just
good music, good conversation.
You know what it is?
Buddy.
It's my buddy's friend from New York. He taught me. I remember we did these driving jobs when I was like 16.
Right.
And I'll never forget this. He always said, when you're on
Drugs
the highway.
to the border?
Nope, not yet. That was the second.
Whoa.
He said when you're driving, find the open space and take it.
Yeah.
Is it? Just take the open space.
That's what you got to do.
You just got to find that open space. And every single time if you're driving on the highway, you take the open space and you'll be good.
It's good.
And I've followed it since I was 16 years old.
It's like walking around a mall with me. I'm the best. People go,
you know what?
17 years experience.
You know where to go.
Things. Yeah.
You know where to go.
It's
All
good.
right.
Anyways,
What's
welcome
next?
to Mall Walkers and Freeway Drivers here in Collider.
You got that out of your mouth.
Kim, any thoughts on Galaxy's Edge?
I mean, I think at this point,
Or where do you like to walk?
or malls, I guess. I shop online. I don't really go to malls. Okay, so I think the reservation system at this point is the best you're going to do.
Yeah.
This is the best case scenario before it just gets wild.
Oh, it's wild.
Yeah, I think what we're going to have initially are people taking the YouTube videos and putting them up about their experience. That's what we're going to get.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what a grenade of Coke looks like. The
little
was that the only big reveal at the panel?
It was a really lame reveal.
Yeah?
It was a really lame reveal. It was.
I mean,
it was my
cool,
most disappointing panel that I went to for the whole time. Everything else I was very satisfied with.
But I remember you texted me. You're like, "Are you going to this panel?" And I was like, still in my hotel room. And I was like, "Oh, I can't. I don't have the heart to tell."
I think I responded with, "You missed nothing." It's just because, and they got the problem was the way that they revealed this thing. They have this. They have this sponsorship with Coke or whatever that they're doing, which is great. Good for them.
Good for you.
And then they go, check this out, everybody. You're gonna be really excited.
Woo!
And then they show like the thermal detonator.
It kind of looks like Coke.
I know, right? That's what.
Oh yeah.
The only cool thing about it is that they gave you a shirt in the Coke with the alien language.
A lot of people were scrambling
cool.
for that.
But I mean, it was
the
like
Arabesh thing, yes.
But that was the big reveal, and Josh Gad had a nice bit inside of the. He was funny, but you got nothing out of it. It was worthless.
You got nothing.
Nothing. All right, what's
you
next?
got nothing.
You got Gad.
You got that. That's kind of it. We got a couple comics coming out that TIE Fighter #1, Galaxy's Edge #1. They're getting really ramping up. I'm really excited.
Book coming for that too, I think.
Yeah. I'm excited to check out the TIE Fighter one. Jodie Hauser wrote that one. I think Jodie Hauser's doing some of the best Star Wars writing right now with her Age of series that she was doing a lot of those on. Dr. Aphra 31. Love the character of Aphra. The story, as always, is just bizarre and weird and outside the box, and that's why a lot of people love it, and I do love that character. There was also one, I haven't read it yet. I got a text from our pal John Bishop from Making Star Wars about, hey, what'd you think about this new, the new Vader Dark Visions one, which I think is the second issue. Okay. And there's a hubbub about it, Christian.
Oh, what's the hubbub?
There's a hubbub.
What's the hubbub?
I don't know, but there's a hubbub.
All right.
I don't know. Roka, do you know the hubbub?
What's the hubbub?
Well,
Yeah?
I didn't want to include it.
Yeah.
Talk about, but there's a fangirl who is all over Vader, in love with Vader.
Oh, I saw this. Right.
Vader kills her immediately and leaves her dead.
A fangirl over Vader.
Get this garbage out of my.
But here's an interesting thing.
So for those people who didn't hear Roka, so basically,
we won't spoil the whole plot, but
but there's something that happens, and I saw Frank Janis tweet out about this too. There's, I guess, someone who's
Frankie Numbers.
Yeah, there's someone who's like obsessed with Vader, and it doesn't go well for her.
Are they mad because that sounds like a response to fan culture?
I don't know.
I don't know what.
No, I don't know. I don't know.
Roka
the
says
hubbub.
yes.
Yeah.
Also, a young girl being killed in that way by Vader, like male on female violence, that kind of stuff.
Right. Well, Vader doesn't show any mercy when it comes to, he kills everybody.
You guys have to remember that's what his whole team's like.
Yeah, Source Bandim.
Join the Rebel Alliance.
Right.
I don't know, but that's one thing.
Dark Side has cookies.
I
haven't read, but I got to tell you, the first issue of Dark Visions, I didn't connect with it either, so I haven't picked up the series. But no, that's Aphra started. as I used to joke back even on the Jedi Alliance days with Maud, that it was like a Vader. It came off as a Vader fangirl. Then the character just turned into something totally different and wonderful. But that was, I used to call her like Vader. Was she like Vader's girlfriend? It was really weird. She was following him around, but I think she grew past that in a spectacular fashion. Well, so it's interesting that's coming up back.
This other thing, though, by the way, TIE Fighter, they have a preview of the companion novel Alpha Squadron, which I just got sent that today.
Gotcha.
I got it, and I do want to. I want to get into the Master and Apprentice first.
Yeah. You haven't started yet.
I haven't started yet.
I haven't got the Alphabet Squadron yet. I think it's on.
You have it as well.
It's getting there, but yeah, Master Apprentice, Claudia Gray. Like I said, I'm only like 90 pages in, and it's really interesting. She writes Qui-Gon really good. I mean, she writes Leia good. She writes Obi-Wan and Dooku. You guys know I love Count Dooku.
Right.
I think he's a great character, and there's some fascinating stuff already. And I'm not even 100 pages in.
Yeah, I gotta dive into that one because Claudia Gray's my favorite.
Kim, what you reading these days?
I haven't read these yet, but I thought it was interesting that they kind of refer to the rebels or the resistance as like separatists, because I've never really thought about it that way.
Yeah.
Sense?
Oh
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. But that's also one of the things I love about Dooku. He's from a certain point of view, the father of the rebellion. He's not. He was Sith and all that kind of stuff. But the separatists and going against it.
Well, because I just don't. I'm in a very insular bubble. I'm very pro-resistance Rebel Alliance.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, that's how they think. Okay, all right, I can understand this kind of.
Well, see, then I got this hat on, and I think you're all causing problems, and we're just doing good.
Maybe we need problems to get somewhere good, Ken.
Oh,
there you
I think
go.
that's a good point. I think that's a good point.
Sounds like Werner Herzog. All right, let's move on now to hear from you
wish.
guys, and that is everything happening in the world of the twits. That's right. You go on to Twitter and hashtag Collider Jedi Council. We go through them. John Roca goes through them, and then he picks some, and now we're going to talk about it. And there's some live ones coming in, too. So
I'll look at the live ones here, but let's go with some pre-selected ones. Roca does a great job sifting through and finding some wonderful questions. We got this one from Wisconsin_life at Badger Cheese 84. There's amazing. A lot of things I like in that name. They ask, good afternoon, Master Jedi Napzok. Sorry, guys, just for me. Watching the Episode 9 trailer, I think that the desert world is not Jakku, but Jeddah. Do you think that Rey could be looking for something out of the Journal of the Wills on Jeddah? So I think we all kind of gravitate towards Jakku because it makes a lot of sense in some of the new canon, but Jeddah's not a far stretch, including some of the rock formations. So what would you prefer? What do you think? What do you got?
Nah, it's not Jeddah. Jeddah. I mean, Jakku just makes sense with the whole arc with Rey is too. Not just the canon stuff, but where she is, where she needs to be. If we're going to find more stuff about her parents or not,
right?
Throwing Jeddah back in there just randomly, I don't know if it's going to work.
And I will point out, especially if anyone's in the chat room, Jeddah doesn't necessarily survive.
Right.
We see in the Marvel comic, it's basically it's a
mess.
It went down for the count after the Death Star, but the idea of it coming back is interesting.
I feel the opposite. I would like it more if it were Jeddah because. I mean, who's a Jedi now? Who's going to carry on the tradition or invent a new tradition? It's her. She's not all the way trained either. I think she would do well to go find some unearthed documents or artifacts.
Jeddah's toast, though, it's annihilated from the. It's in ruins.
In the comics, it looks like a crescent moon.
He was in ruins. He was in ruins before. Before the Death Star.
Maybe she could find something in the rubble. She is a scavenger.
No, I'm not definitely not disagreeing with you, Kim, because I think there's something to Wisconsin Life question. Like if let's say Jeddah was survived in full, I'd be really intrigued for her to go to Jeddah because it's
Well, but the other dispute though to that though is that I believe she is fully trained when we start, because when you see that what Luke says to her, he's like, "We've passed on everything we know. It's your adventure now. You're good." Because this doesn't take place right after Last Jedi. It's like 2, 3, 4 years later. So I think she is fully trained.
I don't know. I just don't see that completion, but maybe they'll show it then.
Right.
The definition of training, like if it's like she has a certificate and she's graduated her night courses, I think so. I think Daisy said stuff like maybe emotionally there's still
of course,
lessons. But to your point of she's learned to breathe.
She's not a Padawan.
She's learned to breathe, as the trailer shows us there. Okay, let's go to Lacey Gilliran. This is a pre-selected question. Lacey writes, what cool new Jedi powers would you want to see in the Rise of Skywalker? Jedi powers. People like them, Kristian. Which ones do you want to see?
I don't want I don't want to be able to guess.
To guess, right?
I want something to be like, oh, well, that's cool. I wouldn't even assume something like that could happen. Like, I really liked that Jedi power of Luke being able to project himself across the galaxy. I loved that. I just didn't like the fact that it killed him afterwards, but I liked the actual power itself.
That really took me off guard the first time I saw it,
Yeah.
too. I mean, the idea we had earlier about Leia kind of relaying a message from Han might be cool.
Via like...
I prefer the more mental powers
Yeah.
as opposed to physical powers, to be honest.
Yeah. Ken?
I don't know.
Battle meditation?
Battle meditation?
That's from Knights of the Republic.
I don't, because I am bad with force powers. As I always say, I love watching more of the Rebellion versus the Empire, and I just kind of go, cool, new thing. Like I remember Phantom Menace, like lightsabers break down doors, awesome. So I'm kind of like you, just surprise me. I don't need it to be something that's established before, something brand new, and I think Rey will surprise us even more than a leap over a TIE fighter.
Yeah. All right. That's the next one.
Live question. This is kind of a two-parter, but the second part is what I'm focusing on here. Ed Crandall. Hey, Ed. He writes, I know Captain Phasma's role in the new trilogy was undermined by our GOT shooting schedule. That's, hearsay. We don't know. It makes some sense, but I think I don't think that necessarily was the case. But he writes, do you think we'll ever get a proper female villain in a big screen Star Wars? Carrie Russell, perhaps, down the line. I love Battlefront 2. I would have loved spending just a little bit more time with Iden Versio as a villain, and I think that was in the works. They just couldn't do that. So that's why the change happened fast. But what do you think about this?
No, I think Carrie Russell's going to wind up being one of the junk traders. Personally, I don't think that she's going to be a villain. I mean, from a certain point of view, depending on how she treated Rey, whether or not you consider her a villain, but not like a main villain. But that being said, I definitely think there'll be another opportunity to have a female villain and a great one, like a Cate Blanchett type villain, and
Thor,
Thor, like someone, and why not? And who's been great at doing that is Benioff and Weiss, So why not put in some? They have some pretty strong female characters in their show, so I'd like to see something like that happen in their movies, and maybe even like whether it's not just a villain, but just I actually would like to see one of these, like a Littlefinger type character in these Star Wars Old Republic movies, and why not have it be a female? That'd be great. What do you think, Kim?
Yeah, bring in Lena Headey.
Right.
There's no way it's Carrie Russell.
Nah.
If anything, she's going to provide some minor antagonism, but there's no way it's her. Maybe eventually, but soon? No.
Ken?
I love this idea. I think there's a lot of room in either the new shows, the new movies. As far as Lena Headey, gosh, give me that. That'd be so great. There's a lot, but I would love.
It's not Headley, right, Roker?
It's not Headley.
Not Lena Headey.
It's Headey or Headley.
Headey or Headley.
He's that's not. Is that a knife?
Headey.
Put that away.
Yeah. Inside joke, everybody.
Movie trivia showdown. I love the idea of like Maisie Williams in a Star Wars movie, but just go even darker than Arya. Just start give her a red lightsaber.
Take everyone's face.
Takes everyone's face in Star Wars. That'd be something cool.
All right, let's do last one.
Last one coming down the pipeline here. I'll go with this one.
Uh-oh.
It's daunting. I don't know if I can answer it.
Go
yet.
for it.
Ollie Dale tweets in using the hashtag Color Jedi Council. JJ, that's Abrams, says he wants us to be satisfied after episode 9. What 3 things must, all caps, happen for you to feel satisfied? I don't know if I can answer that one.
I don't know if I can answer as far as satisfied. I mean, I'm going to take the easy answer.
Do we want closure?
Like a Yub Nub Peace Orb ending?
I don't know.
I mean, I'd like to see the First Order be toast and be scrapped and have them be done. I would like to see the Sith actually survive. That would be satisfying to me. It doesn't necessarily mean it'll ruin the movie if it did. But I honestly, it's a cliche, it's kind of simple answer. I just want a good movie. I just want to walk out and go, that was a good Star Wars movie. And everyone just kind of be on the same page, have that feeling, because I don't think people realize it, is that before, like, even after Force Awakens, and I'm telling you from my experience doing this show, the community was locked in arms. And it was one of these things. I enjoyed doing this show so much because the comment section was always positive. It was great. And something just happened, and there was a switch and you can't just blame it on The Last Jedi, but there are just other things that happened that it just became vile in a way. And I felt that air of positivity again at Star Wars Celebration. And I'm hoping that this is a movie that everybody kind of is happy with and feels good about, and they just and there's people are on board with it again and realize that it's just what we wanted to do. We just want to go and watch a good movie and have some fun and be taken to another galaxy. So I think that is what would be satisfying for me.
I also want the First Order to just turn to dust.
Yeah, Thanos style.
I don't like them.
It's the wrong franchise.
I don't. Yeah.
Yeah. Oddly enough, I do agree. The First Order thing of like a clear, decisive victory there. I joke about the Yub Nub or the Peace Orb ending, but yeah, we're that part there, and then we get something else. We know the galaxy goes on, but yeah, it's that's tough to say. I think expectations could be a double-edged sword, and that you want to have excitement as a fan, and we love our theories and everything, but I just kind of love releasing my mind on what that is and just go to the theater and see what the adventure is. The nice thing is we know that there's more Star Wars stories to be told in a lot of different mediums, and beyond just Last Jedi, there's a lot of fandoms have gone through a lot of problems in the last year or two. But I'm telling you, I'm still not tired of Star Wars. There's days we're done recording here, I'll go home and I'll turn on Battlefront 2. I'll turn on Solo on Netflix.
It's not Star Wars though. It's not Star. It's I have not once from the day I started doing this show till today ever fallen in love any more so with the actual material itself.
Yeah, it's the toxicity that has injected itself into it.
Yeah,
co-opted it rather.
It was just so confusing because it really happened out of nowhere. Because I can't tell you like how, if you go back and you watch like the early days of Jedi Council, and it was just the comment section. I was shocked by how wonderful it was, and I was shocked with how like people had this like positivity of just being a fan, and then it just like something happened to where people like half of it went to the dark side, and it was just it on a switch. And I'm hoping, and maybe it's just being a little naive, I'm hoping that this movie, if done well, can get people back to that place again. But it's just the culture we live in, I guess, too. You just got to deal with it.
It's just weird to me as well. I mean, it's like when I discover there are racist Star Trek fans, I just think, what do you think you're watching? Yeah, what are you doing?
What do you think Roddenberry was doing in the 60s? Like, what do you...
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Listen, that was the show for today. I'd like to thank everybody who joined us today. First, thank you, Kim Horcher. Thank you for joining us. Where can people find you?
I'm on Twitter at Kim Scorcher and on Instagram at Kim Horcher. And I'm also now on Super League talking about Overwatch and other stuff.
Kenneth Napzokian.
Hey, good to be here. Good to work through my talking problems at the first 15 minutes of the episode.
You
I
got
apologize
past
for that. I just that sandwich I ate right before the show finally soaked
Meatball?
in. No, tuna fish. No, kidding. Go to kennapzok.com. It's all new and improved, and there you can find links to buy my book, Why We Love Star Wars. Pre-order now, out May 15th from Mango Publishing.
And for me, guys, look, it is May 18th coming up, and it's going to be in Houston, the Schmodown. That's right, the Schmodown. You're going to have the main event. Well, first, the undercard. We will see our producer, John Roca, and his teammate, Dan Murrell, the Founding Fathers.
I wish everyone could see him. He's doing this.
He's doing a dance. Going up against the local superstars over there, Double Toasted, with Corey and Martin. They're going to be playing in a team battle, and the main event sees former teammates turned bitter rivals Andrew Guy and Ben Bateman go head to head. Booker T, the legend, will be there, and he'll be, if you want to get a meet and greet with Booker, you can do it. Same thing, get the tickets over at theshmodownlive.com. We will be there inside of a wrestling arena, Booker T's arena, and it'll be inside of the ring itself. It'll be a lot of fun. Please come join us. And if you're brand new to this channel, make sure you subscribe to Collider Video. Check this show out on podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, whatever it is. Go and make sure you subscribe, leave us a comment, do the whole thing. May the Force be with you, always.